What is up, guys? We are here with the Kentucky postgame show. Kentucky just played Texas A&M Commerce, not the Aggies, Commerce. I don't know how many A&Ms there are in Texas, but they beat them 81-61. There was an attendance of 19,646 human bebeings in the arena.
That's a whole lot of people, man.
Yeah.
19,000?
Early in the season.
Just for, man.
I was gonna say on like a low key game like that. That's pretty
Not
legit.
the Aggies.
It's like an NBA arena, man. I
Not
guess
even the Aggies.
Nah, not even the Aggies, man. I don't know. I never heard of Commerce, but
Not in season play.
Kentucky is 2-0 on the season. Texas A&M Commerce are 0-3. Let's get into some highlights.
let's do it. Let's do it, man.
Sure.
Got the Texas A&M Commerce versus the Kentucky Wildcats. You guys can see.
Number 16.
Yeah, number 16, ranked number 16. Now Commerce, they came out with some fire early on.
No, for sure.
I like
Making
A&M's
shots
jerseys.
early.
I like those jerseys too.
Yeah, jerseys. You like the Commerce jerseys?
I like the Commerce
You like
jerseys.
the Commerce jerseys?
I do.
You know, for a team 0-2, they started out the game with a lot of confidence.
Man, a whole lot of threes, man.
confidence.
Whole lot of threes, man. For a second, I was a little stunned because Kentucky, and for a second, it didn't look too good going into the second half. But it looked like Antonio Reeves, he picked it up. He definitely, put us on our back and gave us the jump that we needed. Trey Mitchell also had a really big game as well.
A&M Commerce is a team that only 9 threes all season, and then come into Rupp and make the 5 in the first half like that. That's pretty. That's
Only
pretty
made 9
wild.
threes the whole season, and then made 5 in the first half. Very impressive for Texas A&M. There's something about the smaller schools when they get in the Rupp, they go crazy, man. They go crazy.
Yep. It's college basketball.
Big game for the starters, with all 5 starters being in double-digit scoring.
For sure.
UK only playing a 7-man rotation in this game.
Yeah, Aduthiero, he's out. He was out for this one. Hopefully, we get to see him come back versus that Kansas game because I'm sure we're gonna need him.
Yeah, he was listed concussion protocol.
Concussion protocol, man. The Cats were able to win the game by 20 points in another ball game where the Cats shot better in the second half. They came out in the second half better than they did the first half. So shout out to those Cats getting the dub.
Okay, so Kentucky obviously got the dub. It was a big win. But what are the areas that Kentucky could focus on for improvement?
I gotta say, I think improvement. Obviously, not having the bigs, we know that's tough. But you got to start out quicker. If you're gonna go up against the Kansas teams like Kansas, they're gonna jump on you, man. You can't. It's part of having a young team. You're gonna start off a little bit slow. That's part of it. So I was very impressed to see Antonio Reeves, Trey Mitchell really pick up the slack, and that's what you expect from your vets. You expect them to carry the team whenever the younger guys are kind of struggling early on. But other than that, I think the Cats they did a lot of good things in terms of like not having too much turnovers. I think they had 3 turnovers total. The defense is still good. Now we had some setbacks. Cal mentioned some setbacks, like the guards having some trouble staying in front. I know Texas A&M, they came out really hot. A lot of the times you're not going to see that. So it was good to see Kentucky being able to bounce back in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you named a bunch of players right there. I thought everybody contributed, but in your opinion, who was the player who stood out the most and contributed the most in this game against Texas A&M Commerce?
I would easily say Antonio Reeves, not just because he was the leading scorer, but you need that, confidence that he brought into the game when a team like Texas A&M Commerce, it comes out, they're starting off hot, the team is getting to that slow start, and someone who's able to give you timely baskets. And, timely baskets is very important to the game, sure. When someone can just slow down a run and just, allow your team to get back in it slowly and confidently.
I got 2 guys. That really stood out to me. I like Trey Mitchell a lot better than I thought he was. I'm thinking he's just a pick and pop type of guy could stretch the floor. But he's playing the 5, and he's out there doing up and unders and drop steps. Like he looks like a very skilled big guy that we can use. He is not playing his position, ladies and gentlemen. He's playing the 5. So shout out to Trey Mitchell. He's one guy that really impressed me. And I got to go with DJ Wagner. Doesn't get talked about a lot. Hasn't really gotten talked about a lot in the past recent games. I like to see him, like I said, I like to see him touch the paint, get into the paint, and make good things happen. Whenever he gets into the paint, a lot of good things happen. He dumps it off to Trey Mitchell, as we saw during the game. He gets assists. He gets to the free throw line. He's able to finish down inside the paint. So I like those guys in particular. I like what I saw. And obviously Antonio Reeves, he had a huge game. But, I expect that from Antonio.
Yeah. I think we'll be naming him a lot, going into the season again and again and again. Mm-hmm. Kentucky's fast-paced style seems to be the major asset.
For sure.
How important is the style of play? And if you think about it, when the bigs come back, will that affect it?
It probably, would affect it in different ways, but in, assets that are very well, complementary. Seeing that, they shot very well from three the previous game. I think that'll open up even more open looks when the bigs come back. But as far as just, of course, rebounding, they were able to get a slight win in the rebound battle. Not by much, someone as you would want for Kentucky, but like we said, they're playing with guys who are normally forwards and guards, and no real bigs.
Yeah,
so
they missed the Euro too.
Yeah.
He wasn't out there as well.
So, but they was able to take care of the ball with only 3 turnovers, and
Impressive.
that's very important when you don't have those bigs and you have to play a different style of game. So, if they keep that tempo and be able to feed the bigs and create more open shots, it'll work out for them.
I don't think that a lot of people are worried about the bigs coming back and how it's going to affect the pace of the game. Honestly, I don't think it's going to affect it that much. I think there's a lot of positivity, a lot of positive aspects that the bigs are going to bring to the game. Of course, the defense, having them defend is going to be great, especially for the guards, knowing that they have the big fellas in the back to make up for if anyone blows by them or anything like that, and then the rebounding as well. On the offensive side, everybody's kind of worried about them impacting the game. I got to be honest with you. These are not back to the basket bigs.
Traditional bigs.
These are different types of bigs that we have. So I don't think they're going to really have a downside or a downplay on our offense. I think we're going to still be able to keep that pace, especially for going into the SEC play. So Aaron Bradshaw, Big Z, we saw what he could do in the highlights. I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on the style of play that we play.
Yeah, and now to name drop, coming into the big game. Here we go. Here it is. Ready? Kansas. What does Kentucky have to do against Kansas to secure a win in a big game against a big opponent?
For sure, guards got to be able to guard. Kyle even talked about it. If you're not guarding, you're not going to play, right? I think rebounding, having the biggest is going to be tough because we're going to be probably playing the best big man in the country. Hands down, Hunter Dickerson he's probably the best big man in the country that we're going to be playing. I'm sad he's not in the Kentucky Wildcats uniform, but it is what it is. But like I said, I think Kentucky, they have a chance against Kansas. They got to rebound, they got to defend, and you cannot start off slow, especially against Kansas. You can't.
Yeah, I wanted to key in on that. If they could do the same things they did in this game, such as taking care of the ball, but most importantly, getting to the right start, starting aggressive and making sure they put points on the board offensively, not trying to play from behind, can lead the game, and start strong, then, that's what will bring a dub, against Kansas. Just starting strong. That's the difference is, they can't afford to be playing from behind 10, 12, 15 points versus Kansas.
No, for sure. I don't think that's going to be a good idea to do that. And hopefully, like I said, these guys, they come out with a good start. Young teams, they're likely to do that. They just come out flat. They might be a little bit nervous. Not
right.
Used to things. But like I said, Kansas, I'm excited that the bright stars are going to show up in Kansas.
And maybe because they feel like it's Texas A&M Commerce. It's not the Aggies.
Right.
They feel as this game doesn't really get you up on what day was this game played on a Wednesday or so.
I think yeah.
So it doesn't. You don't really get up and excited for this game, but big game like Kansas, you gotta, and a team that wants to be a championship national title contending team, you have to get up for every game.
No,
doesn't
for sure.
matter who the team is. You might get seated at number 1 and come tournament time.
Yeah.
And it may be a smaller team like this. You got to be ready to knock these guys out.
Of course, and we hope to see that. Kansas is the number 1 team. We hope that these guys are going to get up and be excited. I'm sure they are. I mean, it's in Chicago. Prime time at ESPN. Everybody's going to be watching.
Feel slighted. They number 16.
Yeah, so a little bit disrespectful.
Take it personal.
I mean, we're going to need some players to step up. Antonio Reeves, I mean, leading the Wildcats with 21 points. I mean, will he be our best player this season, in your opinion?
It's a good question. I think he'll be our best scorer. I don't know if he'll be our best player. I think Antonio Reeves. I think he like I said, the best player is going to be very debatable because we just don't know yet. A lot of Coach Cal's team, you don't know who's the best player until probably March. If you look at the past, I mean, you can bring up a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a guy who came into the program, didn't start for the first 10 games, and then by March he was our best player. So there's a lot of things that we're going to see early on. It may not look like that by the end of the year, but Antonio Reeves, I think he's going to be our leading scorer, but I don't know who's going to be the best player as of yet. Maybe one of the guards, Wagner, Dillingham. We just don't know.
If I had to guess, the best player would be whoever's the most well-rounded player. That's normally, as he said, comes with, playing with Coach Cal. It's normally the guy who's the most well-rounded, can play some defense, can score on offense. It's not necessarily the guy who gives the 30 ball or 40 bomb. It's the guy who can, maybe drop 15 and makes the stops, the steals, the assists, does it all. That's normally the guys we normally see who are the best players on a Coach Cal team when we think of, PJ Washington's second season, and we think of, Emmanuel Quickly's second season. These guys started to guard the best players. They made crucial plays in important games.
That's very true.
So I want to know, be honest, who you got in the Wildcats versus the Jayhawks, Kentucky, Kansas? Who's coming out with that W?
I'm gonna go with Kentucky easily. I'm gonna go with Kentucky. Not just I just feel like I'm confident in our roster. I'm confident in the team, and I believe they'll get to a better start coming into this game. And I'll take the bet. Of course, like Mario said, we'd love to have Hunter Dickerson in a Wildcats jersey, but seeing that he's in the Kansas jersey and coming off a different team with Michigan, I remember they played just even a risky game against Eastern Michigan, and I know he has a couple flaws in terms of him backing down to the basket, and we don't have a big necessarily, but I think his defense is questionable. There is questions to his defense. This is the reason why he hasn't entered the NBA draft. So I think we could definitely get this game against Kansas.
We got a chance. I'm gonna go with a little bit different way to put at it. So we won by 40 the first game. Last game we won by 20. I'm gonna cut it in half once again. We're gonna win by 10 for Kansas. We're gonna win by 10. We're gonna keep cutting it in half.
So use a little math right there. Like, who's gonna win? 2 + 2 = 4. And
that's what I'm going with, man. I'm going with 10 by Kansas. I think Kentucky, they have a chance if they continue to do what they do. Don't turn over the ball. We're gonna need a big game from the guards. I believe they got to be able to step up, and then Hunter Dickerson's gonna be a problem, but like I said, we're capable of doing it. We're a team that's capable of
right at the floor.
doing it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Wildcats return to action Tuesday, November 14th against Kansas in the Champions Classic. The game will be played in the United Center in Chicago. Game time is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time and will be televised on ESPN. Hopefully, Kansas goes in there, and afterwards they're going to be like, "Oh Lord, we're not in Kansas anymore." Because I'm thinking my prediction, we're going to dominate them.
Dominate them. How much we winning by, Fletch?
We're winning by 40.
Okay. hey, we'll take it, man. Dub is a dub, man. 40, 15, 10, whatever. We'll take it.